And this is a question a lot of people are wanting to know.
So that's a tricky question there.
What does all this mean?
On this episode of Today We Meet, we visit First Defense Home Inspections. You'll get answers to what I found to be the most commonly asked questions about home inspections.
And today we meet First Defense Home Inspections, and we have with us Destiny to tell us about First Defense Home Inspections. Hello, Destiny. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Mike. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Oh, it's our pleasure, definitely. We'll start out with something really basic. What is the purpose of a home inspection?
Absolutely. So a home inspection is for a buyer or a seller to have a better understanding of the property's condition for that date and time. So as an inspector, we'll go through and check the major components for any structural or mechanical issues, as well as safety.
Is a home inspection required when buying or selling a house?
So a home inspection actually isn't required. It's definitely beneficial. It'll give the buyer or seller some more knowledge about the property before moving into a real estate transaction. But it's by no means required, just heavily advised to have done.
Okay. Do you have any home inspection tips for sellers? What should they do to prepare for a home inspection?
Certainly. So the big thing for sellers to keep in mind is that we want to have the property as accessible as possible for when the inspector comes in. Our goal is to make sure we're able to check all the components while we're at the property. So we want to make sure that the attic access is accessible. If it's in the garage, no cars are parked underneath. For the HVAC or water heater, that we're able to get to that. And again, that we can see all the walls, making sure that again that we can get to appliances and make sure to the outlets and stuff that those can be tested as well.
And do you have any home inspection tips for the buyers?
Sure. So as a buyer, you can attend the inspection should you like to. Usually a lot of times they'll go towards the end of the inspection. Our big thing that we encourage is go ahead and reach out to your agent, insurance companies that you may be working with, and see what type of inspections you're going to need. Also feel free to ask questions. We're more than happy to advise for that particular property if you may need an additional inspection outside of your standard home inspection. We also encourage that buyers do a final walkthrough prior to closing. That'll give the buyer one last chance to go through the property and make sure that's in the condition that they anticipate before closing on that property.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
And who should attend the home inspection?
So the buyer can attend the inspection as well as the agent. Sometimes we'll have a seller or tenant at the property still. The main thing is that we're allowing the inspector to do their job while they're at the property. But again, they can attend. Usually most people do towards the end of the inspection.
And this is a question a lot of people are wanting to know. How long does the home inspection take?
That is a great question, and there's not one answer for that. So each property is different and in a different condition. So with that said, it's going to vary. Rule of thumb is approximately for every 1,000 square feet, you're going to add about an hour for the inspection. With larger homes, you have more of an open space, so there may not be as many components. So there's going to be a little give or take there. But let's say for a 1,800 square foot house, that's in relatively good condition. We would say maybe about 2 hours for the inspection.
Okay. We hear terms like 4-point inspection and WINMIT. What does all this mean?
Yeah, so what they're referring to is the insurance inspections that we see in Florida. So a 4-point inspection is going to be one strictly done for insurance. Normally it's done on homes 30 years and older. It's telling the insurance company for the 4 major components, HVAC, wiring, electrical, and the roof, what's been updated, which is why we don't do it too often on newer homes. Sometimes though insurance will request it on a newer home. It usually is older, about 30 years. The wind mitigation is going to pertain to the roof. While we do check this during the home inspection, this is a separate inspection form for the insurance, telling them how the roof is attached to the home, what type of roof covering that you have, and can also help lower your insurance premium depending on those aspects that were completed on the form.
What common things are you seeing in this area that will fail a home inspection?
So that's a tricky question there. A home inspection actually does not fail. We're only reporting on the condition of the property for that date and time. So we're giving the buyer or the seller that knowledge of what's going on with the property. The only kind of inspection I would say that could maybe fail would be an insurance inspection. And that's where they're going to come back and say we require these things to be addressed or fixed before we can issue that policy. But for the home inspection, we're only giving you that knowledge. It's not a pass or fail inspection.
What kind of things are you seeing that cause problems with the insurance companies not wanting to insure? What are you seeing around this area that's causing that?
Sure. So for insurance purposes or in general with the property, we are seeing where the roofs might be older. They're showing significant signs of wear and tear. That might be something that would be a hiccup with the insurance company. Water heaters that are older, let's say over 20, that might be something if it's in the house that insurance companies would be wanting to have remediated. Another example would be wiring. If we see aluminum wiring or cloth wiring, that might be something that needs to be addressed down the road. And that's the same to be with plumbing. You're gonna have bigger things out there that are more known to the insurance world. Polybutylene, galvanized plumbing might be things that a buyer could come across that would need to be remediated down the road.
And what kind of home inspection warranties do you offer?
Sure, so obviously we're going to stand behind our work when we do an inspection, but a buyer or seller will also have the advantage of a 90-day mechanical and structural warranty, mold safe, sewer guard, recall check, and a 5-year roof leak protection warranty with our home inspection. Now these are limited warranties and they are through residential warranty services, but they are there and available to our client when they do an inspection with us.
Very good. Very informative. Well, thanks for your time, Destiny.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All right, my pleasure.
Can we add?
We can add the magic of editing. We hear terms like 4-point wait.
You're gonna have to edit out the laughing.
Yeah.
Thanks again to Destiny for a great interview.